Okay, folks. All right, I know this is the wrong thing, but this is the first one back in the 80s or 90s. But we saw the second one, and then we watched a little bit of the first one to compare and contrast it.
Well, let's just start with the first one. It had a relatively decent setup. They had a beginning part before everything starts happening. You've got more character development. You have even the characters back then. The Looney Tunes characters were more well known to kids because they used to play those cartoons back then. But they kind of had a scene where it kind of give you a better idea what type of characters they were, even if you didn't. So it was a little good intro for them, and the story was, an actual story.
Plus, it was how do I say this? There were a lot more people of different backgrounds in the first movie.
Right, there was more diversity.
Yeah, oddly enough, which is yes, there was more. Where the second one opens up, and it's all black people all the time, except for Sarah Silverman. Maybe she was the one not black person.
But she did that really good song about black people back in the day.
Right.
That's one of the songs that made her famous. But
her Jesus' Magic Tour.
Right. Even though now she's totally against being.
It's weird how she's able to call a song called the N-Bomb song, and do like live stand up and be a huge Hollywood star.
Yeah, and then she cut her teeth on doing
like racist humor.
Yeah, and just being dirty. And now she's cock blocking all the other new comics from doing any of that stuff.
Yeah,
nobody can be edgy now.
She's probably worth $50 million. So new comics coming up.
She doesn't have to worry about it anymore. She's already got her money.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen did the same thing. He got really woke. It's like he's known for being super racist and offensive.
Yeah, not anymore.
The rules are because
he's got his money.
He's worth $50 million.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry anymore.
So new comics, I would come up and be on stage like, yeah, this is Sarah Silverman's song. It's called the Ninja Song, and this is what she wrote, and she sung this song back in 2005, maybe 2010, and it was perfectly acceptable back then for her to sing a song with black people in it, calling them, ninjas right to their face. It's like, it was funny. It's like the audience laughed.
No, because it was funny.
The San Francisco fart huffers, driving Priuses but living in $2 million houses, they loved it.
Right.
They probably went and saw that stand-up, Jesus' Magic. It's then she went on to have a huge career in TV's. It's like no consequences, no repercussions.
Right.
She got one consequence for when she did the Chinese thing, and she said she did a skit on her show where she used a slur for Chinese people, and she got a little pushback for that.
Yeah.
But barely.
Right.
Barely.
But now, no one's allowed to do it according to her.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Total double standard.
Yeah. After they have their money, it's like
they can afford to be the voice of morality or whatever.
Yeah, she had to do stand-up now. It wouldn't.
What is stand-up now? You can't say anything.
Spoken word. It's spoken word. It's like one man. It's just they've went from stand-up comedy to.
It's just poetry reading.
Kind of. It's like a one-person experience. Like who's that? Hannah Gatsby. She's Australian.
Yeah, that Aussie.
She's a huge ass. Her ass is like twice the size of an ordinary person.
Yeah, and
she tells stories about how she was snuggled by evil men.
Right.
Though oddly enough, she doesn't give any more description of the man than it was just an evil man.
Right.
But I'll skip that for now. So it's weird. Stand-up now is, I guess it's kind of over. I mean, the
only thing you could have is if like stand-up went like completely underground.
I thought about that too. That was like, what if you went into a place and you had to hand your cell phone over? You put them in like a Faraday cage. They sell those on Amazon, little Faraday cages. They're trips. And you had no one could record it. You got your phone back at the end of the show, but that would be a trip. Like you could say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
All blue comedy. But the thing is, I remember when they were doing, Comedy Central was doing roasts like 20 years ago.
Yep.
And they were doing roasts, and that one fat chick comedian was going on there, and she was talking about, I've had more N-bomb dick in me, then whatever.
Oh yeah, was she like some Italian lady?
Yeah, she's some fat Italian. Who's,
Yeah.
Lisa Lampanelli.
That's right. Who used to refer to black people as the Blakes.
Yeah, which is, But so the people in the audience were getting all pissed off. It's like, it's a roast. This is the original blue comedy.
But you can't hurt people's feelings anymore. It's not allowed.
But if you know going to a roast,
yeah, like you know what you're in, you know what you're going in for, and if you don't, then you didn't do your due diligence. And it's not like roasts were just made up yesterday; they've been going on for decades, centuries, probably even.
And the thing is, all the stuff with like racial humor it has to be funny. You can't just go out there and drop N-bombs.
Or you can't,
land. The jokes have to land.
And also, like, if it's not true, no one would laugh.
Yeah.
They're making observations.
She's a fat Italian girl having sex with black dudes.
Yeah, it's all, stereotypes don't just, they're not fake. They're not, they tend to perpetuate themselves.
Right. So I don't know if roasts are over, or I guess
it's a night. You just do a nice roast, just like a.
So I'm trying to think of like the roasts have gotten more PC lately.
I say, why bother at that point?
They've who is that?
It's fun because you see the person they're roasting just trying to pretend to laugh, or you can see them squirming. Because it's so brutal.
Shatner, they roasted Shatner, and they hate him.
Yeah,
like he's a hated character, so it worked.
All his ex-coworkers from Star Trek just put him on blast.
Oh, they hated him. But then they did a roast of Pamela Anderson, and it's like everyone loves her. So were
they trying to be nice to her?
Yeah, yeah, because they love her. It's like it was just a party. It's like that's not
real.
Like roasts. The thing is, once you tell
you gotta have somebody that's got some sort of controversy, so that they have material that they can really.
Well, she probably had a sex tape at the time.
Oh yeah.
She was on a boat. She's just blowing Tommy Lee for an hour.
Right.
Kind of a hot video. Yeah. That was back when celebrity sex tapes were
not common.
No, now it's like
that's how people get reality shows now.
Yeah,
just do a sex tape. Now you got a reality show.
That is bizarre. Like you can get something. Well, nowadays it's like not. But if you're a star who is not getting the work she wants, you can just release nudes. If you're looking fantastic,
right? You just do your little
do a little Jennifer Lawrence, at least picture your butthole.
What is that thing called? Fans only. You get a little fans only page.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Anyway. You should do an OnlyFans one. You get more money.
Okay, so the new basketball thing.
Space Jam.
Space Jam is part 2. It starts off and it's like made for quick short attention span people.
Yeah, ADD people.
It's a lot of loud rap music.
Flashing lights flashy. and
it's all black people.
Yeah.
It's all like the first one is completely different in tone. Like it'd be cool to put two. I mean, you can't show copywritten material on YouTube, but if you put it side by side, you're like, oh wow, this is all black. Like everyone is black.
The thing that's kind of interesting about the first one was that it's about how after Michael Jordan retires and when he decided he wanted to do baseball, which was a complete disaster for him, it's kind of like him kind of going back to his roots and redeeming himself. So that's like a real story. I mean, it's based on real stuff, whereas the new movie is some dumb thing about like a dad, like LeBron James, like instilling values into his children or something like that.
So what they do now with POC characters is they make them purse puppies. Where they cannot do anything wrong. Where LeBron James, what's his flaw? He loves too much. He loves his son too much.
Right.
Like, that's how they treat black characters now, and it's friggin' embarrassing.
Yeah.
And his son just wants to please his dad, and he's a computer genius because he's super smart because he's black. It's like, lighten up with it. Just lighten up. It's like, make him human.
Just condescending. Just kind of trying to ram this down everybody's throat. It's I don't know. the whole movie was just really hard to watch because it's all these quick cuts. It just seemed like a whole bunch of short little scenes. Like they came up with a brainstorming session about like, oh, what are we gonna do with Bugs Bunny? We're gonna have him do like this, that, and the other thing. They just added it all together and stitched it all together, and so it's not very cohesive.
Oh, and then they had things like, I was wondering why they had the woman have so many lines, the mom, the strong black woman cliche.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it hit me like, oh, the Bechdel.
Yeah.
Like it
it was so hammered in that it like took away from the pacing of the film, because you have this whole movie that's like all these quick cuts, and all of a sudden they do this. The whole movie comes to a screeching halt when they have her when they're doing their little Bechdel.
Like she has to have 30% line reads or something.
Yeah, it's like hold up, we're in the third act. We got to catch up. We got to get her all her lines.
Yeah, so they shut down the movie.
The whole thing came to a screeching halt. They have that scene. Okay, cool. We can check that box off. Let's move on. Oh, the other thing that was really troubling to me was the voice character. I mean, you go from like Looney Tunes with Mel Blanc, and then you have this new guy.
Yeah, he was horrible.
I mean, like, did he do like multiple voices? So, nobody can do what Mel Blanc did. Just get an individual voice actor that can do the Bugs Bunny voice. Get an individual actor who can do the Daffy Duck voice. There's no way you're going to have one guy that's able to do all those voices well. You're going to get a guy who can kind of do them, or do all the voices, but very poorly.
Okay, but that goes into who is the movie made for? Who does it? Who? Like the first movie came out, I probably 89 or 90s.
Early 90s, almost.
People still knew the characters. Warner Brothers was.
They still had the shows in syndication. They had the new version of Tiny Toons, so people knew.
They might have had the Animaniacs back then.
Yeah. So
but this stuff was still on TV. Yeah. There was still TV.
So even though everybody knew who those characters were, they still gave them a little bit of time to develop or show you what their character dynamics were. Whereas now, in this new one,
these characters are 40 years old.
Yeah, and when he's building his team, it's just like pretty much this quick montage where they're just grabbing all these characters and nobody knows who they are now. Like, we know because we're old, but like...
Even the Matrix is 20 years old.
Yeah, so who the heck is this demographic? Are they aiming for us? Because in that case, they shouldn't make a kiddie movie. It should have been more...
Yeah, this was a movie made for kids. It didn't, so nothing landed. Everything was way, way off.
Yeah.
It was made for like 12-year-olds who like basketball.
But then they're not going to get any of those other references because they don't show any of that stuff anymore.
Even the Matrix reference, where she's doing the slow motion kick, the crane kick.
No kids watch the Matrix anymore.
A 13-year-old doesn't know what that is.
They're playing Fortnite.
Yeah, they're playing video games. Even basketball doesn't have the same cultural impact it did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
In the 90s, like
even if you weren't into basketball, you knew who all those players were.
Oh, absolutely. They were huge in video games and like they
just on TV commercials.
Yeah, TV was big back then, and now it's like I'm playing video games or I'm watching YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And I'm surprised. Look at this movie. I'm surprised it made it past the planning stages.
Yeah, the pre-production.
Like I would go talk to the target audience.
Or the pitching. So like, who pitched this?
It's like, do you know who Bugs Bunny is? I'm like, kinda. It's like, okay, we'll just stop right there then. Like, you know who the basketball players are. Then you should have made it more of an adult movie and less cartoony. It's like, I know they want to show off the
or just have
CGI,
but they could have done that with but gearing it towards an older audience.
Oh, hell yeah.
And people who probably saw Space Jam back in the 90s who are now like older now, just kind of like take them along, The
first one had Michael Jordan, who's a much better actor, and also personality, and LeBron James, he's just a douchebag.
And Michael Jordan just seems more of like a likable person.
He is in real life.
That's just the energy that he puts off, But LeBron also just doesn't seem like, he kind of seems a little bit like just some dumb jock guy.
He comes across as a dumb jock.
Like he may be able to shoot the ball, but
he's a guy who carries a book around that he hasn't read.
with a perfect spine.
Perfect spine, perfect
no
corners.
broken spine, no dog-eared pages.
So embarrassing.
It's a prop. It's not a book. It's a prop.
He got called on it once and he just got humiliated. I don't know if he still does it after that, but it's humiliated for the guy.
At least listen to the books on tape or something, audio books or read the Cliff's Notes or something. So when somebody asks you a question, at least you can spit out some BS.
It was like Malcolm X. It's like, I would assume that's required reading if you're black.
Or also, didn't you see the movie? At least you could have said something from the movie, even though you would get caught for lying because it probably wouldn't be accurate.
Yeah, it's bad when the reporters have read the book and you haven't.
Right, the white reporters.
Probably. That's like, yeah, we read that in high school, dude. Why didn't you?
Yeah. I was playing ball, man.
Yeah, he was playing ball. It's like, you went to college.
They had somebody take tests for him.
Oh yeah, those guys didn't go to class. Those guys didn't even go to high school classes. Yeah. Anyway, so
I think the only good part about that movie was Don Cheadle.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's a good actor. Even though they gave him a turd, he was, I think, able to polish it as best as he could.
Yeah, but the intro of the movie is 15 minutes before they enter Toon World.
Right.
And he introduced Cheadle. It's like, whoa, dude, that was 15.
I mean, the thing that's cool about him is that he's just such a likable guy. Like, that always just comes across in his character. So you can kind of like him, even though he's the bad guy. He's the villain, but that always gives the movie more depth when the villain isn't just like a two-dimensional villain. They're kind of likable.
Okay, one thing I didn't understand was Warner Bros. Owns Harry Potter too, but Harry Potter didn't play almost any role in the movie.
Just like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds there, and at the very end, like you see some characters in the background.
They're the most recent characters, but they're still in the public
zeitgeist. Yeah.
Yeah, where everything else is.
Like kids. If you're aiming this at kids, you put that in there as one of the main themes or one of the main backdrops, then the kids are gonna be like, oh yeah, I know, I read that or I saw that.
Strange Beasts movie like 10 years ago.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, and that's still, people are still talking, like kids are still into, I don't know why exactly Harry Potter stuck with kids so long.
I don't know.
Or it's like adults are kind of like kids now.
Right.
But it's still, Harry Potter, I mean, because the books are really, like they're legitimately solidly written.
Well, they're easy to read because they got big print.
They're easy to read. I think I still have them. But they were fun books. I read all 7 of them. Like I was thoroughly enjoyed them, all of them. I was surprised. They I mean, they were obviously written for kids. I mean, they were like a little silly, but they, like for a kid's book, those things got A+.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Lord of the Rings of.
Yeah, for dumb people.
Yeah.
So the Lola Bunny controversy.
Oh gosh.
Which I remember they were talking about that, I guess, a year ago. Where the original one is like, this is a cartoon. Characters have to be cute and likable
and exaggerated, because that's what cartoons are. They are exaggerations. But this one, they like put her in like really schlubby outfits.
Like great, formless. She looks like the WNBA.
Yeah.
People hate women's sports. Nobody watches women's sports because it's friggin' boring.
Yeah. Yeah, the money, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, they're subsidized by the NBA $11 million a year. They lose $11 million every year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's friggin' bizarre. So they asked for a raise, and that's the Nate Silver, the guy who owns the commissioner of the NBA, is like, yeah, you guys lose money every year. You're in the hole. You're in the hole every friggin' year. We have to subsidize you just to pay you. It's like, you guys are.
Like, do better, like make it more exciting than if you start generating money.
And it's like nobody wants female sports. If women don't want it, and why would men watch? Why?
Well, the transgender people are joining men.
Like, that's
going to
be the future of sports.
It'll be the WNBA, but it'll just be transgender women.
There is one transgender person in college basketball. Zur is like 50 years old, but he's 6.5 feet tall.
And he's just dominating because he's like a giant.
Oh yeah, he's like 6'6", and he can still play a ball
and knock all the little women.
He's like 6'6". He's like 230, 40.
He looks like
pounds.
a linebacker.
Yeah, he's huge, and like everyone else all the chicks are like, the tallest chick there is probably 5'10".
And willowy though.
Oh yeah, thin. Like the tallest girls there. Maybe there's a 6 foot black girl there, but it's like everyone else, the rest of the team is like, there are girls here, they were 5'6".
Right, and he'll just be tossing them like a little.
Yeah.
Little,
like, how do
little
you
dolls.
guard somebody who's
Just steamrolls your ass.
Yeah, you can't even reach the ball. He holds it over his head.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna win every jump. You know, they throw the ball up. It's like, come on.
He just reaches up.
Yeah, but the girls say
at
oh, they love him on the team. It's like, yeah, no shit, they love him on the team.
Yeah, because he's winning games for them.
It's only junior college. It's like, it doesn't matter, but it's like, if that's the future,
It's gonna be interesting.
it's gonna be.
It'll definitely be interesting.
There's no way
I didn't
it'll
say that's
continue.
good interesting, but it's certainly interesting.
It couldn't possibly continue.
It's good. It's good
possibly.
for laughs.
Yeah, it's good for if you're on Team Accelerate. You just want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
Which I admit, I kind of am.
I am too.
I just want to say, let people have the Civil War. We're too old to fight it. We'll sit back on the sidelines, sitting at home with a shotgun, just like
watching
the world
Space
burn.
Jam.
Watch the Space Jam. So the first one had Bill Murray in it, who is fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's an adult actor who can sell comedy.
Right.
So all the scenes, like the whole theme of the movie is, how do I say this and not be politically correct? The second movie was made for dumb people.
Yes.
Like a dumb demographic.
For simple people.
Who just wanted flashy lights.
Yeah, special effects in your face.
Like, if you had to make a movie for a foreign market, you didn't speak the language.
Right.
But then foreign markets don't usually like black guys, so...
No.
That kind of...
So it's not really going to appeal to anybody.
And it looked like they spent some money on it. It looked like it had a budget.
Yeah, it looked like pre-pandemic budget.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And, I mean, so movie theaters now, or movie producers now are just going to take a loss for the next few months until they dial those budgets down.
Yeah.
Like Black Widow's return to the box office I think it's fallen off sharply. Because people discovered, it was pretty mediocre.
It's just a spy movie.
Yeah.
It's just a spy. It's a spy movie with a little bit more special effects.
But with chicks.
Right.
And it's like they weren't in the sexy role of chicks.
And then, so the very end scene, or the end sequence or scene is where they're playing the big game, the Space Jam. And it's all special effects. And there's all these, all the WB properties are like hanging out in the background. It's kind of like Ready Player One. You just see all these, but they were so janky. It looked like if Warner Brothers had an amusement park and they had like characters dressed up walking around in the crowds. That's what it looked like. It was like so lame. Like the only thing that was cool and that I appreciated was they had the Herculoids and they were fully animated in the background. But other than that sucked.
I don't know if Warner Brothers are still making movies, right?
Yeah.
Because they got Batman.
They got all the DC stuff that Jar Jar Abrams is going to be taking over.
But I don't think people... Like, they know the movies, but they don't know these characters that they're using. Oh, look at dog. It felt like if you had to be 40 to know what any of these things were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely would have to have seen all these movies growing up because they don't play them anymore, or no kids know about them because parents in our generation aren't doing a good job and they're not showing their kids any of the cool stuff that we watched when we were kids.
Stuff is not like, even the 90s, some of the lines in the first movie are like, they talked about slavery. Like, yeah. We don't want to be this guy's slave or something like that.
That would never fly.
There was
the scene where Porky Pig's just I just wet my pants. That would never fly because you'd insult people who have bladder problems.
Right, and there was a bit where the female character comes out. She pretends to be kind of spacey, and one of the characters slaps some sense into her.
Right.
That would not.
No.
That would not.
That would hashtag pound me too.
Pound me too. Melissa Milano would be outraged over that. So there was some of that kind of stuff that wouldn't. Dog, you ready to go? I want you to go too because you're passing gas, dog. What else? But the first movie overall, it's like you realize how fast the culture has gone to absolute shit in 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, like it's gone to the point where you can't even. It's not even a movie. It's not even. You can't even do a comedy set. You can't watch a movie. They're not even. It's just filler.
It's okay.
Because it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
Here's what I was getting at. I was thinking of this the other day. People are talking about movies used to be movies. I'm thinking like before 2020, 2016 things got weird. 2020 things
It just went. Yeah, that was it.
Things have changed from like especially post-pandemic. Things have gone from movies, big screen, where movies were events that you paid all attention to content. That word content, it comes up a lot. Because people have a lot more social media. Like a lot of ordinary people have social media, and you got to produce content to entertain people. And some of it is good, and some of it is just background stuff. But it's that concept of we've got to grab eyes and ears and put content out there, and it doesn't have to be good content. Like Black Widow, like Space Jam was a bomb, but like stuff like Black Widow, it's like you didn't stretch any new boundaries. You didn't ask anything of your actors. The director didn't do anything amazing. The actors, nobody did anything amazing.
Right.
The fat guy, the Russian guy was funny.
But it was mostly phoned in.
Yeah, It's like you're asking people to suspend disbelief. You've got Russians are training black women in Russia.
Yeah,
because
that's totally what happened.
They're in Eastern Europe, and you've got women who are running around the Middle East. Women with their faces uncovered running around the Middle East as spies. It's like, maybe in some parts of Turkey, that would be okay, but it's like a spy doesn't stand out.
That's the whole idea. You don't want to stick out.
You're gonna have a Middle Eastern man who's 5'7", who's swarthy, has a beard, who fits in, who has his prayer rug with him, who fits in perfectly. You're not gonna have a Western woman who even
you're
like
not going to have
you're
not going to have a black lady in the middle of Russia running around.
No, absolutely, that's insane.
Heck, if you have a spy, you're not going to have a black lady running around in the United States because the cops are going to chase after them for no reason.
Yeah, basically.
So it just makes no sense.
None of it makes. You're asking people to just turn off their brains too much. It's like it doesn't. Things don't have stakes.
Like
anymore.
Fantasy has to be like rooted in some reality. And now you're just going into some wacky fantasy that's just completely alien. So how can anybody really relate to it?
Movies coming up are gonna, I don't know. Like you're gonna have stuff like Fast and Furious. That's gonna be okay.
Well, that's just a superhero movie now.
Oh, is it? So I haven't seen any.
They turn it all into. It's like if watch the very first movie.
I saw the first one.
It's great. A race cars. It's a heist. If you just don't watch any of the other ones and then just jump into Hobbs and Shaw.
See, I saw
and it's there's like superhero. There's like a super villain. He's got superpowers.
Really? So I
like
didn't see
the power creep is just off the charts. It's ridiculous.
See, it was supposed to be a car movie, and then it kind of morphed.
But it's still about family.
Yeah, that's
still about family.
Oh, see, that's another interesting topic. I've talked about when I read comics now, modern comics. It is a whole thing with communists, or I just use that term loosely to describe these degenerates. They have to destroy the nuclear family, the extended family, the ancestor reverence, because it all ties into nationalism. So what they do is, in comics and in movies, they use the concept of the found family, where you sever your blood ties to create this new multi-ethnic found family, and you go, we're family now. It's like,
okay.
No, that's some globalist bullshit right there. Because that's this concept we're talking about before.
It's it's forced.
It's
when
forced.
You force stuff down people's throats, then they're gonna reject it because it's too obvious. Like you gotta ease people in. You gotta get them into the baby side of the pool before you drop them into the deep end.
I don't think that propaganda is ever going to sell because
but I mean, but what you said is like 2016 they sorted it, and then 2020 they just yanked the rug out of underneath everybody, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, wait, what's happening? No one was gently initiated
they went too far too fast because they thought they had it.
You got to indoctrinate first before you tell them the real stuff, right?
I don't think they're going to indoctrinate people because even though Twitter is very heavily censored, people are able to dog whistle stuff on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
And now you've got Gab, you've got DLive, Odysee, BitChute. You have a lot of alt and 4chan, right? And you got a lot of alt tech where you can push back against this narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Like this stuff is like the stuff they're trying to sell you. All you have to do is get on social media. Say, this is really dumb, and it starts to kill a movie.
Right.
It starts.
Well, except until Rotten Tomatoes like fakes the numbers.
Yeah,
because they got paid off by the Hollywood.
They did. Rotten
PR.
Tomatoes used to have a thing where it's they've got the audience review, they've got the professional review, and then they had a want to see score for movies that were about to come out. That's all it was. It was a want to see.
Like people would just say yes or no.
It was like it was like a scale like 1 to 10 or something. Like how many stars do you want to see a movie? So when Captain Marvel came out, people went on there and they said, "How do you want to see it?" And people said 0. No, they don't want to see it.
So they totally rammed the numbers into the low end.
They like you'd go and you'd look and you'd be like, "Oh, it's got like a 2 rating for want to see desirability," and then you look back a minute later and it's like, "Oh, it has an 8 rating." Like, come on.
Like dude. What? All of a sudden, the Captain Marvel freaks just came in droves.
No. They could mathematically they couldn't.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
First of all, that's not a very popular character to begin with.
I mean, people did see the movie, like, because fat neckbeard losers love that kind of stuff.
Well, I had to see it multiple times because I kept falling asleep.
You paid to see it?
I paid to see it once.
Oh.
And then I watched it a number of times online or streaming.
To be fair, if you see stuff in the theaters, it's like a movie that gets...
Well, I just thought it was going to be a Marvel movie, but it just wasn't exciting at all.
It wasn't anything, man. That was
stupid.
It wasn't
just a totally OP character. Mary Sue. What do you call Mary
Sue? Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, she's a god.
She's the most powerful character in the Marvel universe. It's like
who wants to see that?
Thor, I think, is more powerful.
Right. Yeah, Thor, and then the Hulk probably.
The Hulk, right? Stupid.
But she's female, and she kind of looks like I don't know. At least Scarlett Johansson has a body on her.
Right.
That's like.
Because I sent you that picture of what's her name, Brie Larson, and her.
In her
from the backside.
Yeah, I'm sure when they make part 2, that movie is gonna bomb. I cannot imagine part 2 doing well.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't imagine how the sequel of Black Panther is going to do well if Black Panther, the actor, died.
Chad Boswick died at 43 of cancer.
Yeah, how are they going to do it?
They'll work it out. It'll work out because that movie has it has an audience just waiting for it.
Yeah.
Like they are.
But I mean, is it not going to be with him? Are they going to write him out? Or are they just going to CG him in some certain scenes like they did with Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies?
I don't know. But I mean, it'll be another $1 billion movie.
Yeah. Because everybody's forever Wakanda, or Wakanda forever.
Yeah, that Wakanda stuff was such a huge...
Wakanda.
And that was a mediocre movie, but it was better than...
Better than Captain Marvel, that's for damn sure.
Better than Captain Marvel, probably better than Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow.
Yeah.
But, it's like, you're going to get the black fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about that movie, again, kind of like with this new Space Jam, was the villain is more interesting than all the other characters. But everything else is just, whatever.
So I think this movie was made pre-pandemic, so they had the budget.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, they pulled out all the stops for that.
So this movie, I mean...
That would be a movie that you would take your kids to in the movie theater, probably in IMAX, and it would dazzle everybody because of all the little beeping, bleeping CG lights and all that VR nonsense.
If I was a kid, this first 15 minutes would bore me, and then he discovers Don Cheadle in the Matrix world.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but then it just goes right back to like Strong Black Woman.
Right.
Just non-stop strong black family, and everyone.
Like, why didn't they make her? And like, why didn't they make a movie about her if they wanted to do that?
Oh, we got to take the Bechdel test. Well, then you're not making movies.
Yeah, who are you making the movie for then? Is it for little kids or is it for women, feminists?
Yeah, do 40-year-old women?
Or is it for black people? Like, who is like? You got to pick. You can't do everything.
They want to make movies for colored people of color, women.
Well, make one and then make another. You can't do like 3 or 4 different demographics. It's not going to appeal to anybody.
Yeah, that's where they are right now.
just make one movie for each. Fine, I get it, but don't try to cover all your bases in one movie. This doesn't work.
Yeah, you do like a Stella Got a Groove Back romance, just a black romance
with the Bechdel thing thrown in.
Well, then they'd have to get rid of it because it'd be all women.
All right.
Or what was a movie about some pants? Some lady was traveling around with pants.
Sister of the Traveling Pants.
I don't know. I never saw that.
I never saw it. It seemed like a women's film.
I never read the book. I don't really know what it's about.
Or Eat, Pray, Love, Drink, or Yoga or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a Christian.
Is it?
It's probably women.
I think it's a woman.
I don't know. Then there's what was that one with the Brad Pitt where they're driving a convertible? Gina Davis.
True. Not. Yeah, I know what I forgot what that thing was called. It's a Ridley Scott directed.
So I don't know if that's a woman's flick or not.
I think it was for people in the 90s.
But chicks in the 90s were less cringy.
Yeah, but that was like, yeah, girls kick ass.
Oh, okay.
That appealed to feminists in that era.
Like fried green tomatoes.
That was acceptable to them in that era.
The Notebook, the Titanic.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's all just. Well, the Titanic was a huge hit, man.
Well, I like it because I laugh when I see the people falling off the deck.
The only thing I say is the sets were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of about it. Like the sets, the costume, period pieces. Like it's fun to watch for that. But wasn't it like 3 hours or something?
Oh, it was longer than shit, man. It was awful.
I saw it once and I fast forward. I was watching on DVD and I fast forward.
I had the misfortune of having to see it in the theater.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was rough.
That's 3 hours. It
was rough, let me tell you.
Lord of the Rings goes, I'm glad they made Lord of the Rings 20 years ago because if they made it now, holy cow.
Oh, they'd have all female characters replace all the male characters.
Basically.
Be Froda, not Frodo. Froda, Samantha Wise, Gamgee, Gandalfa.
Or now they're going full circle because they're going, we need, first in the 90s they're like, we need female characters. All right. Now in 2020s they're like, we need trans characters.
Yeah, so, where does it end?
Well, you've just gone full circle, so now you're back to men.
Yeah, so we're right back to where we started.
It's cool because it's like in Shakespeare day.
So in a way, it's back to normal.
Yeah, some men are in lipstick and dresses and like the most ridiculous. There's a movie about a trans person, an actor in real life.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
No, which I don't.
To Wong Fu.
Oh. Was that the 90s where like guys could dress up as chicks for a laugh?
Yes. It's fun. It is funny.
I was watching some Mystery Science Theater stuff, and there's a couple of bits where...
Or Mrs. Doubtfire. I wonder if that would...
Jeez.
I wonder what... I bet you people would be up in arms with Mrs. Doubtfire today.
Yeah, none of these things were all... The culture has accelerated, I don't know, from like 2018 to now. It's like... I don't see how Hollywood goes forward. You're never going to get Goonies and E.T. at Ghostbusters. You're never going to get a Star Wars. I mean, I'm talking about the original 70s and 80s shows. Yeah. All that's gone forever.
Yep. Yeah, it's people. You look back on it and no one will believe you because they just whitewashed everything and made everything disappear. They canceled it out of existence. No one's going to believe you that how it was before.
Thank God for BitTorrent.
Yeah. They erased all the rifles out of the...
Yeah, and then they brought them back after like 2 years because they realized you've got the guy running. He's a hunter and he's got like an axe.
Yeah, and he's got like a hunting cap on.
Yeah,
but he's got an axe,
and it's in, like the whole jokes are about hunting season,
and it's almost more scary with the axe.
Oh yeah,
to be honest, that's like Psycho Killer.
Like you cut somebody's head right off.
That's like Here's Johnny.
Yeah, here's Elmer Fudd.
Right.
Did you ever read the comic book that had it was a crossover with like Batman and Elmer Fudd and the Warner Bros. Characters?
No.
Holy cow, they're online. They're really good.
When did this happen?
I don't remember.
Is it recent or is it like a long time ago?
Within 10 years. Huh. It's you can read them online. They're absolutely well worth reading.
Is it funny or is it serious?
No, it's serious.
Oh shit!
It's got like you've got Elmer Fudd, but he's got a shotgun and that's his weapon.
He's like the Punisher.
Yeah, and he's like either teamed up with Batman or Batman.
Did he look like Elmer Fudd or did he look serious?
Vaguely. It's like the energy was there, and it was a trip, and you had all the other characters in there.
But they looked more serious.
Yeah, it was a dark, serious. But they pulled it off. They totally pulled it off. Huh. And then Archie.
They did some really.
No, Scooby-Doo did a one remake. Oh, they did a ton of remakes in comics, but they did one that was a serious remake, and it was good. And it was like went for like over a dozen issues, and this was in the past 10 years, and like to go for over a dozen issues now is huge.
Yeah.
But it was serious. Like they pulled it off. It totally worked. It was really funny.
Huh.
Anyway, so we've gone on long enough. Some of the movie was it was a bomb. It wasn't
sucked.
just a miss. None of the jokes landed. There was no chemistry. LeBron James
completely like disjointed. There was no hard anything.
He's not likable at all. His kids are not likable, and everyone was a purse puppy in the movie. It's like the kids are just smart and geniuses. And
Right.
It's like, stop. Just make people.
Don
human.
Cheadle was pretty cool.
Don Cheadle
Because
was
he's
good.
just Don Cheadle, you know.
I wanted to see Sarah Silverman get run over by a garbage truck,
That would have been pretty cool.
and then backed over, and then empties the trash on her,
Yeah.
and then someone lights it on fire.
That would be cool.
I might have to edit that out because it sounded like a death threat. I'll end it here because I think I have to edit that last couple of minutes out. Maybe. That's not a death threat, so don't call the FBI. Or
No, it's just it's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon.
Looney Tunes. That's what
She's
they
a
do.
character, but
That's what they do in
I
Looney
did say her
Tunes.
real name, not her character's name.
Yeah.
Shit.
Just bleep it.
I can't. I mean, I don't edit these things. It's either I can cut the beginnings and the ends out.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, yeah, I could upload it and edit it. Like one of these days, I'll get a laptop and do it on laptops and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work for. It's like this setup is so friggin' easy.
Yeah.
It's like you literally go from your phone right to the website. It's
Nice.
Like, it's fucking genius. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will see you all next episode.
Peace.